well.
Welcome
Hello.
back. Yeah, hello again. It has been a little bit of a gap. We've kind of missed a week here.
Yep, sure did.
We were
That seemed
16
like a
weeks
long
strong.
time.
It did. We were 16 weeks strong, and then all of a sudden, totally on me, we missed a week, but we're back at it. So
Well,
not too big
nobody
of
was
a gap.
keeping score. Yeah,
Right?
no
But
big,
hey,
no big.
I
Yeah,
know that. But we had a good streak going. So we gotta beat the next one.
and a lot to talk about
Oh
tonight.
yes, yes, very much so. It's might be a little bit of a heavy one with the topics. Not heavy as in like deep, but heavy as in like a lot. Because
Yep,
the reason why we
yep.
missed last week's episode was I was out of town, and went on a little vacay, and by little I mean a big vacay, and had a great time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm already ready to go back. It was too short. It
Well,
felt
they
like a
always.
blink. They do, and I tried so hard to keep it from it, letting that happen, and it happened.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I mean, it's just like anything you would really enjoy, right? For me, one of the highlights of my life was being dad, and I wanted every second to count, and didn't want them to go by really fast, and they went by faster, I think.
Oh man. And that's a long time being dad. You're a dad for, I mean, you still are dad, but like dad mode was like, what, 18 years
Well, yeah, I
strong?
mean, you all three of you were at about 18, 19 years old before you left, and you were born in some year, and
That
Lizzie was
was.
born in some year,
We were born in
and
some years. That's very true. Wise words.
but I mean, yeah, it was probably 26 years of being dad with everybody home and enjoying all the different phases, and so, yeah, it went by really too fast, it did.
That it does.
But
I'm learning that
but
as well.
yes. So, yeah, right, exactly, you're learning it, and it's kind of fun to watch now.
I know. Being able to watch kind of the next
Yeah.
step. And grandpa's like even better because now you get to have all the fun with less responsibility. So, best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah, that's give or take, but it's cool, it's
Yes,
cool,
that it is.
and, so enough about that, I mean, we've got 3 hours worth of stuff to talk about
Man, yeah,
in
we're gonna
less
try to
than an
condense
hour.
that. I made a short little list here of kind of what I could, some pointers, so that way I don't keep you guys too long because I know that there are podcasts out there that are too long, so I'm gonna avoid that at
Right,
all costs. But
right.
with that being said, if you've tuned in, welcome to Duo Jive. This is Wyoming's #1 podcast for questionable advice, accidental wisdom, and deeply unnecessary storytelling. So, with that, thanks for joining. Thanks for tagging along on this next episode, this next journey with us, wherever that may lead. This week, I'm going to be, well, I would like to recap my week with Tiffany and I. We went to
No,
Florida
wait, wait, wait,
to
wait, wait, wait,
experience
wait,
the
wait.
new, yes,
It was awesome. Ep
110%,
Well, that just gave away what we're talking about.
right? There you have it. Epic theme parks. I mean, you might want to, it should be easy to connect the dots at that point.
Right.
I did attend the new Epic Universe and got to mark it off of my bucket list. I've been talking about it for quite some time here and there on the podcast and have officially been able to go and witness myself.
Yeah, beautiful,
And it was
beautiful.
truly epic.
Now, spoiler alert, right?
Yes, I will throw out there, thank you, Chris. Spoiler alert, if anyone out there hasn't been to Epic and plans on keeping it a surprise, granted, this is not visual. This is strictly audio, so I mean, take that as you may, but I will be talking about, some details of Epic Universe pertaining to rides and such that you may want to keep a surprise. Spoiler warning. Otherwise, shall we begin?
Yes, we shall. And
Well,
that's how this weekend or week began. You called me one night, I believe, just last week and said you were on a plane or getting on a plane.
yes, we about a week ago. No, yeah. What's today? Wow. So a week and a half ago, it's weird how you lose track of time when
Yes.
you go on vacay.
Yes, yes.
But
You're supposed
a
to,
week and a
but
half
yeah.
ago, yes, that's very true. We did do that successfully. But a week and a half ago on Saturday or Friday night, I got off of work and immediately booked it with Tiffany and Lincoln to the Denver airport, which is about 4 hours away from where I'm located.
Mhm.
So anyone out there, I know that, sometimes traveling may be a little tedious because you have to plan accordingly and get to the airport 2 hours and you might have a 30-minute drive with some traffic. Try 4 hours, I mean, it can't be any worse than that, which is traveling. The drive was the same distance as the plane ride, and the plane took me all the way from Colorado to Florida, and that is a hefty flight.
Yeah.
So to put that into perspective,
Yeah.
that's a full day of traveling, and that's with a less than a year old baby at the time. And when we left with the intentions that if we took a red eye flight, which for anyone out there listening, we flew from midnight to 6 a.m. The flight was actually about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And but with the time change, it came out to about 6 hours or so. The intentions were to get on the plane and fly there overnight so little buddy and us could sleep. It halfway worked, just starting off.
I think it probably would have halfway worked it was if it was during the day too, you know?
Yes, that's true. He probably could have gotten him to sleep as well, but, the goal we just wanted to make sure he was taken care of. I
Right.
wanted to sleep on the plane as well, but I was not successful in that, partially because the jitters of flying. This was my first time flying this year, so, had to recalibrate to flying, and
Alright.
excitement. It was
Yeah, I
overwhelming,
think
so
that's it,
just
right?
getting to
That was the
Florida.
key.
So we did make it there, and we had a fun time, got to explore a couple Disney parks, and one day in particular was a new theme park called Epic Universe. If you're not familiar, it's a new Universal theme park that just opened up about 3 months ago. May, June, July. Yeah, about 3.5 months ago, or three
Alright.
months ago, less than 3 months actually. 3 months ago, it opened up in Orlando, Florida, and it is a part of Universal's new theme park down there. So they have Islands of Adventure, they have the classic or the original Universal theme park, and now they have a theme park called Universal's Epic Universe. And this one has a bunch of IP lands, which means it's intellectual property. So the lands are consistent of Harry Potter. One land is Harry Potter, the other one is Super Mario Bros. Or Super Nintendo World. The other one is Dark Universe, the classic monsters like Frankenstein, Werewolf, Dracula, and such. And then the other one is How to Train Your Dragon, which was I mean, all of them were epic, I should say. But then they have another theme park that isn't IP, which means it's not from a movie or anything, and it's called Celestial Park. It's actually the center of the theme park that connects you to all these different lands.
So, I just have to understand though, did you say Harry Potter?
Yes, Harry Potter was one of them, a
One
Harry
of the
Potter
worlds
land.
in Epic Universe.
And it's kind of finicky because the other two theme parks, Universal theme parks, actually have Harry Potter lands. One is the castle, Hogwarts, and the other one is Diagon Alley, which, if anyone out there is a Harry Potter fan, it's a land in the Harry Potter universe. This one actually pertains more so to Fantastic Beasts, the prequel movies with Newt Scamander, and he has like a bunch of magical creatures. So you walk into the land, and it takes you to 1920s Paris, France. And when I tell you the scale of this land is insane, they went 10 times more as far as scale went and theming than the other lands. And those already are fairly pretty themed.
Well
So,
well, yeah. I mean, it was for me, it was really memorable.
right? I mean, those are one of those, they're amazing. They did
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes. I mean, I grew up in theme parks, right? And I'm an old man now, and 60 years old means I've been to theme parks quite a few times at ages where theme parks weren't very much. And to walk in, anything to do with those parks, it was so detailed and hard to imagine. You literally spend an hour looking around, just
Just
looking around.
looking. Yeah, just
Yes,
looking,
absolutely.
exploring. They did it
Absolutely.
again. I will say they did it again, and this one even more so because it's very whimsical, and I've always been a fan of the Fantastic Beasts. I'm always a fan of like time pieces, period pieces, if you will. So that 1920s vibe, they did a good job portraying that. And then because the park's still new, and hopefully they keep this, they had characters walking around, which just immersed you even more into the land.
You felt
So
like you were in it, huh?
yes, fantastic and epic. So all of the above. And then they actually had a Harry Potter part, which Harry Potter takes place in more of today's day and age. It was a couple years ago that Harry Potter took place, early 2000s. And the part that took place of that was the ride. So you take a magical teleportation, if you will, chimney flue that teleports you from 1920s Paris to the Ministry of Magic today's day and age with Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and all that stuff. And then they go and battle a villain in the Ministry of Magic, which is like a government building that houses a bunch of
Ministry.
British, yeah, but a bunch of British magical stuff, and that was that. Their rides are no longer their rides, but they're getting closer to more so like live action movies. Like, it's no longer about the thrill, it's about there's thrill in it,
Storytelling.
but there's a story to it. It's so advanced. It's next level. It is truly that is something else. That ride, I had to get on it just to witness, and I'm glad I did because it was something else.
Just to witness, just to experience, you mean?
Yes, because it's like so spoiler alert, here's the first spoiler. It's like riding Tower of Terror, so you get in like a elevator-esque type of deal to where you have seats next to you and you got 2 rows, you sit in there and then you face forward and then the ride starts, but instead of it being just like a little box that moves forward and then goes up and down in a tower, it's actually on a arm. So the box itself is has its own momentum and can move and follow and do whatever it wants and goes wherever it wants.
Yeah, it's
And
also on a conveyor, right? Or
yes, and so it's constantly moving, it's up and down, it's left and right. There's moments to where you feel a drop, even though you're in a box. But because you're in that box, your peripherals are kind of they're gone, so you're focused direct dead center, and you're focused on these rooms that you enter. You enter these rooms with these animatronics that are Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and all the Harry Potter characters and the villains. And these characters they went and figured out how to turn their faces real. So like with older style animatronics, they went all digital. So you'd have a moving animatronic and their face would be like a screen and you could tell, it'd be backlit. These newer ones, they remove that altogether. These are completely real looking characters that you witness in this. I'm talking like basketball court size room, if not bigger, football arena size room. And you go into one room, into another, and you're just witnessing these fights and these battles. Crazy stuff.
epic scale too, huh?
Epic scale, and I'm starting off strong with that one because that's their big ticket item. So, it was truly a fantastic experience just to start off in that land. We didn't start off in that land, but starting off with this in that land and witnessing that along with the other lands that were there, so
Imagine 45, 50 years ago, kids going to a theme park and the rides were the train, like a few
which was
roller
amazing.
coasters. It's a wonderful world, you know?
Think about how advanced Space Mountain was whenever that opened. I think it was the '70s?
Yeah, I was 20 something years old when that came about. It was that was space aged technology and hard to imagine having a roller coaster fly through so many dark areas where you couldn't see what was ahead of you. You wanted to close your eyes. But that was the highlight of that was one of the many highlights. We didn't have Haunted Kingdom.
Dark Universe?
We didn't have, well, I'm talking about Disney. We didn't have that. We didn't have some of the stuff and we didn't have obviously the Jurassic World
Yes.
and the tree and all that stuff. When I was a kid, it was much simpler technology, much simpler stuff in general, just
Advanced
in
for the
general.
time, but simpler considering where we are now today.
Yeah. I know I mean, we've been to the parks obviously and together just recently, but you guys are now experiencing a much newer technology and a leap really in technology. I'm pretty excited to get to see it.
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that because then if you go, that means I get to go again, and I will be right there with you. Just let me know when and where.
Yep, 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 yep. Well, obviously, we've already got our family trip planned, and it won't be this year,
Yes.
but next year
Very
sometime
excited for
we're
that.
going to be making that trip during a part of the year where it's not so hot in Orlando.
Might be a smart move. It was pretty hot this trip, and I will warn you, it's a new theme park, and
Yes,
which means it's like a baby, and everything has to grow. So like all of the shade and the shrubbery and all of the
right.
trees are still
No
very
growing
fresh and new, and they
trees.
have to grow
Yes.
into shade. So they're
Yep.
not quite
Yep.
there yet, which makes it a fairly hot park, especially during summer, where
Yeah.
some of the lines are outside. A lot of there's like a lot of kiosks and stuff that are outside. So you're
Yeah.
spending a lot of time outside. And if you go on a day that's very hot, you'll definitely feel it.
Yes. Yes.
Like during that day, what's that?
Now that I'm an old man, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it even got to Tiff. I mean, as passionate as Tiffany and I are, hopefully, to eventually move to Florida. Anyone out there listening, if you have any tips on how to get there, I'd be greatly appreciated. But anyways, we want to move to Florida. On that on that route, we were like, okay, this is going to be a good starting point. We'll be able to go down there and kind of get acclimated. It took us a while to acclimate, more so Tiffany, because I don't think she was actually prepared for just how humid and how hot it would be. And then, of course, with Epic being non-shaded, there was a lot of heat. And so, but luckily, because of the fact that we stayed on property or nearby, we were able to walk to our hotel, which is about a 10-minute walk from the theme park.
That's amazing.
Fantastic. Just walked
Yeah.
right over. I dropped them off, and then I was able to go explore by myself because she put little buddy down for a nap, and they actually ended up staying the rest of the night there at the hotel, which was completely cool. Fantastic. Don't even get me started on the hotel. I want to preface for anyone out there listening, I will be short I will have some vlog content posted, whether it has already been posted or will be posted here shortly for these experiences that I did, both in Epic Universe and all of the other parts of my trip. And you'll be able to see both Epic Universe from my point of view and the hotel that we stayed at. And if you're a big space person, if you're a fan of space, this hotel is it. When you arrive, we arrived at night. We couldn't see the hotel because it was completely dark. There was no lights on the hotel and they just had little lights flickering like stars. So it looked like the night sky because it was called Stella Nova. So it's very spacey. And then you walk inside and it's almost like you're walking into a black hole portal. And it's very retro futuristic spacey on the inside. And the rooms have like these like space windows, like if you were on a international space station. Very cool. I did not realize what I was walking into going there. I knew it was spacey, but I didn't know the scale. And I think that might be my new favorite resort.
And you'll be frequenting, I guess?
I would like to, yes, that would be the goal.
Yeah, well, okay. Another thing that we need to do next year when we go back, if you
Agreed.
haven't already gone back and found
That's
a better
true.
one.
We might have to go back sooner than later. Let's just say I might be already planning that.
You're already thinking about how you're going to budget it.
Yep, how I can fit it in there, that's for sure.
I get it. Cool. And the weird part about it is, this ministry, Harry Potter and the ministry battles and all that stuff are being really they're really being talked about. I mean,
Yes,
there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of activity online about it. That people are saying it's just flat epic, right? It's epic. And the
makes
I
sense.
guess they really did such a good job from what I've seen of making it look like it was underground.
Yes,
And the subway tunnel, all of those things that
yes.
have always been iconic for the Potter stuff.
The Metro flu that they would call it, and it brings you into the Ministry of Magic. Yes, they did fantastic. Unfortunately, they were very strict on filming on the ride, which that was actually a lot of rides at Epic, but so I wasn't unable to get the actual footage of the ride, but I was able to get the queue, which the queue is a part of the ride in itself, kind of like
Yes.
Rise of the Resistance over in
Yes.
Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
That part was just amazing in itself. More to come, more to
Mm-mm-mm.
look forward to. And
Yeah.
then that's just one piece, that's just one piece because then you all of a sudden have Dark Universe, you have Super
What's
Nintendo
Dark
Land.
Universe?
Dark Universe, otherwise known the land that you're teleported to, you go through a portal and you're teleported to a land called or a world called Darkmoor, and this takes place in the Dark Universe. So it has Frankenstein's monster, Victoria Frankenstein, the werewolf, Dracula, the mummy, pretty much all of the classic Universal monsters. And they walk and roam around the park and the land, and it's very, what's that? What would you say that vibe or that theme is? Very like old style, like old
Well, yeah, it's
town, windmill on the edge of town, massive
yeah,
castle on the edge of
yeah,
town, that
yeah,
whole vibe.
yeah.
And that was underrated and then some because when I went, just like everybody else, that wasn't my first thought to go there because, Dark Universe, you want to go at night where it's spooky and scary and stuff like that. And
Okay.
whenever we arrived, I was like, well, right now, everything is getting pretty busy. Dark Universe isn't. Let's go take advantage of that and go when it's not busy first thing in the morning. The rides are a walk on. And even during the day, even in the morning, this land is next level cool because you have Igor walking around the land with like a bag full of limbs. And he's like talking about, can I have yours? And talking about the ride because there's not to go into too much detail, but the ride, Victoria Frankenstein is trying to control all the monsters, not just Frankenstein's monster, her creation. She wants to control the werewolf, the mummy, the creature of the Black Lagoon, Dracula. So in the ride, she has successfully captured and controlled every monster except for Dracula. And in the ride, you witness her controlling Dracula or trying to attempt. And let's say things don't go as planned. And because of that, all the other monsters are set loose. And now you're all of a sudden running for your life. And they go crazy with it. If I were a kid, I would not have been able to handle this land, let alone this ride. It blew my mind now, but as a kid, I would have absolutely died from fear from how scary this land and this ride
Huh.
was.
Uh,
They
Kid.
capitalize on it. Yes, on a
Yeah.
kid as a kid, they capitalize on fear 100%. I mean, for example, there's a scene in the ride to where when you're going from scene to scene, seeing all these creatures being let loose and kind of running rampant, there's a scene at which the werewolf is you come across him and he is kind of eating into someone and he scratches their neck, causing blood to fly, and it crosses your face, even though it's, just water, but it feels so real. And then he looks at you and he starts trying to chase you. And then Dracula escapes. And that the way they have their speakers set up in this contraption that you're sitting in on this roller coaster seat, he whispers in your ear because he can fly and go wherever he wants and turn into bats. And that ride was next level scary, to say the least.
Really?
Fantastic. That ride was underrated. I think that was my favorite, more than Ministry of Magic.
Really?
Yeah, I take that back. There is one ride there that I do prefer, that was my top, that actually outranks this ride. But the overall theming and the story behind this ride, this was top tier for sure.
Fascinating. And
Yes.
how was the food?
Oh my gosh. So that's what a majority of the vlog is going to be about. If you haven't already watched it, go check it out. My YouTube channel is Noah Avery. So go give me a follow if you'd like. It'd be greatly appreciated. Definitely because I'm a beginner, so you might be one of the first few. But in the video, it's probably going to be heavily food based because unfortunately, since I wasn't able to record the rides as much as I wanted, I was able to record our food and our, just walking around and exploring shops and lands and all that stuff, and we went all out. So to put into perspective, one thing that I did kind of understand and witness on this trip was most people are still fans. I mean, Disney gets thousands, millions of people going to its lands yearly still today. And that's when did those lands come out? The early 2000s, maybe late 1900s. Those are some older parks.
1990s? Yeah.
Exactly. Those are some old, and this is the Walt Disney World lands that we're talking about. Those are some old parks, which means, they've had some years. They were, older style technology. And I mean, they do have some lands that have been since recently redone or added, like Pandora and such. But the overall land aspect, they're older style. So Universal, being that they just created a park this year and have been working on it for only about 2 years,
Remarkable.
they were able, I know, it's crazy. They were able to capitalize on that and pretty much enhance and update and make everything they could modern. And when I tell you they succeeded in that, they truly did, because from the dining service, the queues and the organization, I mean, there's still some things that are very familiar. They still have the lines and stuff like that, but they figured out how to incorporate a more immersive feeling in them. The dining, so all of the dining, whether it was sit down, quick service, all of that stuff you could order from your phone. And the sit down was actually the coolest in my opinion, because they had a lot of restaurants that were very elegant. Like inside Paris, France, they had a cafe. And I'm talking, it was like top tier elegant. You felt like you had to walk in, it was formal. You had to walk in with a suit and tie on type of deal. But nobody was, because you're at a theme park. That'd be crazy. And we walked in there and we were greeted by a host, and they said, please have a seat wherever you like. And so we sat down and we noticed that there's no servers. There's just a QR code in the center of the table, and you scan it with your phone and it takes you to the menu in which you can order whatever you want instantly. And within 5 to 10 minutes, your plates arrive on your table with the silverware and everything with it. Real plates, not paper plates, real silverware, everything to go with it, ready to go. And because you already ordered and paid, there's no tip or anything. You're just ready to go. And then they have some Coca-Cola freestyle machines in each of those restaurants. And that was something that is underrated at Universal. Disney does not do this. Universal partnered with Coca-Cola and they have these freestyle. You're familiar. They're at like
Oh
Burger
yeah,
Kings and stuff like
oh
that,
yeah,
to where it's the big
yeah.
touch
Movie
screen and you
theaters.
pick. Exactly. They partnered with Universal. And so when you go to these lands, of course, all of them have free water. So that's a plus. You can literally get water anywhere for free. On top of it, you can purchase a cup. And we already had one from a previous experience. And they're these souvenir cups that have a QR, a little scanner on the bottom, not a QR code, but like a chip, RFID chip in the bottom of it. And you can unlock it for the day or however long your trip is for a certain fee. So I think we paid like $13 and we were able to get unlimited soda, any soda, all of the sodas, every soda you could ever. Diet Mr. Pibb. I didn't know that was a thing. Anyone out there listening, have you had Diet Mr. Pibb? We did whenever we were
What's
on this
Mr.
trip,
Pibb? Let alone Diet Mr.
right? I mean, hey, that's a classic. Don't get me started on that. But we went and had we were able on top of that. So not only did the Coca-Cola Freestyles have every flavor, but they also had flavor specifics to the land. So, like at Celestial Park, the center point, they had a flavor that they partnered with Coke, and it was called Celestial Spritz. And then the Dark Universe had one that looked like blood, and then they had one at the How to Train Your Dragon land that was green and was dragon flavored. Kind of, it was very interesting. Those were worth it in itself.
I'm sorry, you said Center Park.
Celestial Park. So that is the center of the park that is non-IP or non-intellectual property that isn't a part of the lands. And so whenever you're in the center point, it's obviously very space celestial, very, it's got like the like star constellations and stuff like that, and absolutely amazing. My gosh, dude, when I tell you this part of the park at night beats Dark Universe. Every land, they figured out how to create two separate theme parks, one during the day and one at night, because the ambiance that you get from the lighting and stuff like that from all of these
Sure,
lands is
sure,
truly epic. They did it.
sure.
I mean, they succeeded.
Technology too.
And then yeah, and then on top of it, on top of the LEDs and the lights and all of this theming that they have in this celestial park, the center point, every night at dusk or right whenever sunset happens, there is a statue, one of the constellations. I forget her name, but it's a constellation, and she's a statue at the front of the park, and she's holding a bow and arrow, and the tip of her arrow lights on fire and shoots across the park via the lights. So the lights will travel across the park over to the Grand Helios, which is the hotel connected. It's a very grand hotel. If you're familiar, it's like Grand Floridian, which is Disney's version, and it's connected to the park, so you can actually see the whole theme park from your room from this hotel, and you can walk. It's a walk up to the hotel. It shoots it across the park over to the Grand Helios, and then when it hits the hotel, the whole park comes to life at night. It all just shoots across and lights up the entire park.
A kid,
It was truly
fascinating.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's pretty fascinating. Again, the tech, it's
yes, that
making the experience.
they figured out how to use today's technology in that theme park, and they succeeded from the food, from the lighting, from the ambiance, from just the efficiency and the whole layout and theming, and using your phone on your app and the Coca-Cola freestyle machines and so much more. I mean, there's just I wasn't able to experience it all. There was a handful of rides that I didn't get to do, and I'm gonna have to go back here soon to do, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Were any of them that you weren't able to do because of Lincoln?
Yes, it was a mix of everything really. It was just it was kind of busy. I guess kids weren't quite in school yet. We were hoping to catch like right as kids went into school, but it was still kind of busy. Not crazy, but and since we had Lincoln, we took things slow during the day, which was completely fine with me. It was completely okay. I wasn't in a rush to get everything done. There was a few things that I had on my list that I did get to do, but then, the rides that I wasn't really focused on that I'd like to get on eventually, I wasn't able to do those, and we'll hopefully do them in the future. A few being
So there
like
was
over in what's that?
so there was the Potter World or whatever.
Yes.
What the yeah, I guess the minister.
It was Fantastic Beasts in the Ministry of or it was a mix, so it's Fantastic Beast and Harry Potter.
Okay. All right. And then there was the Dark Universe.
Dark
which
Universe?
was all of the monsters, nothing about heroes, I would imagine.
No,
Okay.
none.
No heroes, all about dark stuff. And then what other park is there?
Then there's also Super Nintendo World. Super Nintendo World is another world, and I will say when it comes to, like, just sensory overload craziness, this land exceeds and then some because it's like you're teleported into the video game of Super Mario or Super Nintendo World. This is Super Mario Bros. So you're in the
Like
land with
Wreck-It
the
Ralph, huh?
music and dude, you got these massive plants trying to eat you and Goombas running around and just the whole 10 yards. They did it all, and you're just immersed in it, and it's all overwhelming, but this one in particular even more so because a lot of people were fans, so on top of it being just so much to take in, it was crowded, and so now you're dealing with a lot of people, and you're dealing with just, like, the witnessing of everything, and then on top of it, behind this massive land of Super Nintendo World, they have Donkey Kong Country, which is a subset land that goes into Donkey Kong Country to where you have a Donkey Kong ride and you can meet and greet Donkey Kong, merch, stores, foods. Oh man, the whole works all behind Super Mario Land, which takes place in Super Nintendo World. So it was a
Okay.
lot
All right.
in that one.
So it's Nintendo World, Mario Land's behind it, and then
Mario Land is like kind of like where you enter through the pipe. So you go in a pipe. This was really cool. So each one is a portal. And the portal kind of, it's very celestial, very, the center park, very time warpy, time machiney. And then as you go through the portal, it becomes the other side of the portal is the land, right? Well,
right on.
because you're going into Super Mario Land, you go through a pipe, the green pipes. And as you go in, you hear the doop 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 sound, and you go through the portal and then up, and then you enter through Peach's castle, which is insane.
How are you getting there? Walking or riding in a ride?
So all of the portals you just walk right through, but this one was a little more unique. They wanted it to be truly like mind-blowingly just like the initial walkthrough kind of just take your breath away.
All
And
right.
so what they did was whenever you walk in, you immediately go up an escalator. So you take an escalator that goes through this green pipe, so it's all super neon green. You're in the pipe and you hear the music playing and it starts becoming louder and louder as you make your way up. And then you enter into Peach's at the top of the escalator, you enter into Peach's castle in which you walk through her doors, which enters the land, the entirety of Super Nintendo World land. From over, you see Bowser's Castle, Toad's Cafe, all of these different, like Yoshi's Land with Yoshi's Ride. You could see Donkey Kong Country way in the back over there. It was crazy.
That's awesome. And that's another one of the things that they always work really good at theme parks is taking you down into a space and then all of a sudden going up out of that space up into something you feel like you're really high.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
They succeeded in that. Yep, truly epic to say the least.
So you had Nintendo Land, and then where'd you go to after that?
Well, after Nintendo Land, the last land, so we've been through Harry Potter Land, Dark Universe, Celestial Park, which is the center point, and then Super Nintendo Land. The last land was How to Train Your Dragon from the
Yes.
movies.
Yeah, that's
And
iconic. Yes.
yes, so when you teleport into this land, you're teleported, you go through the portal and you come to the Isle of Berk, which is the whole island from the cartoon/movie. So you have this massive tower of an island and it's surrounded by boardwalks and you have dragons flying around in a roller coaster with Toothless. You can meet and greet Toothless. They have crazy foods. This land goes the craziest when it comes to characters because you have Rough Nut, Tough Nut, Hiccup, Astrid, what's the one? A couple other different characters from the movie walking around the land. And the way their costumes are set up is they look real, but they're big and bulky, so it kind of looks like the cartoon still. It is so cool. I loved how they did it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's really cool. They gave him like really big boots to make him seem cartoony to go with the land. And then you have
Gotcha.
dragons just everywhere, everywhere. Just dragons left and right running around the land that you can go and check out. The ride there is really cool. It was you join Hiccup and Toothless. They're trying to work on a new contraption, and Hiccup accidentally messes it up, slingshotting you, and now you're on a wing glider and you're shooting through the land, and it's just another epic ride, to say the least.
More epicness.
And more epicness on
And you
top
didn't
of
get to
more
do it all in
epicness.
one day.
No, I managed to do a lot. So I did get to do the big ticket attractions like Harry Potter, the Monsters Unchained Dark Universe ride. I got to do Hiccups Wing Gliders, which is the main attraction in How to Train Your Dragon, and I got to do. Oh, so the my favorite ride, to finally come back to it, it is actually in Celestial Park, which is in the center of the land, and it's called Stardust Racers. And they created this dueling coaster, kind of like anyone out there, OG, Dueling Dragons over back in Universal, or I'm sorry, Islands of Adventure. There used to be a coaster that was actually a side by
Yes.
side. There was two coasters and they would ride
Yes.
next to each other. It has
Yes.
since been torn down and demolished and everything. Well, they brought it back with
Surprised.
this one. Stardust Racers is a dueling coaster, except they flip flopped it and inverted it. So it's like you're flying on a comet, and the way the explanation and the story that I got from it and what I read up on was this was the old style form of traveling for Celestial Park. So basically, before the portals were created, basically instantly taking you to these different lands, in order for you to get around via the celestial skies, you would take Stardust Racers. You would take this, it was basically a subway in the sky, in the stars. And you'd get on a comet and you'd ride this comet to the next universe or to the next land or world, you could say.
All
And
right.
since they no longer use these comets for transportation, they use them as fun thrill rides. And so you hop onto this comet and it shoots you out of this cannon in space. Well, you're still on Earth, but it shoots you out. And when I tell you, most roller coasters, most like high thrill roller coasters, it shoots you out, you go, 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 and then you kind of like reach like a plateau and then it slows you down. And
Right.
if not, kind of almost takes you to a stop and then you might have a little bit more. This one has two launches. It launches and then halfway through, you lose a little bit of momentum and it launches you again. And you are out of your seat probably 80% of the ride. This is better than Velocicoaster. And I don't think you've been on that.
I have not.
So that's
I have
something
not.
that we're going to have to add to the list because before this, Velocicoaster was my favorite roller coaster. And
Where
this exceeded that.
where is Velocicoaster?
Velocicoaster is in that one is in Islands of Adventure in Jurassic World Land.
Okay. All right. It is kind of surprising that I've never been on it, but
Yes, it is very. I mean, we don't take a lot of Universal trips, but now
no, no, that's true.
with Epic Universe,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Be in the mountains this year, Epic Universe
yep,
next year.
yep, mountains this year, all the other rest of the worlds next year.
Now I don't want to bring it down at all. Don't want to bring it down at all. But I was responding to some of our previous episodes in responding to the posts from some of our listeners or viewers, giving their 2 cents. And by the way, I enjoyed that. I valued that on a topic we were talking about then. I'm sure that there are some by in listening or reading those responses. I know where some people are in their life that are listening or watching Duo Jive. And I'm sure that there are a couple that are watching and listening, thinking like we tend to do as human beings, this guy, he's really, he must be wealthy, or this guy, you know, something special. You're just a normal Joe, right? And
Yeah.
you saved, you had a yard sale even, and planned. You funneled some of your money as it came in on a weekly basis into it every week or whatever, and you made it a point to plan this trip out just like a regular family trip for your family.
Oh, to Epic Universe?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, if I were a rich man, I would have gone day of. I would have gone on the opening. I probably would have gone before the park opened because I'm a rich man and I have contacts. With that being said, there was some planning that had to take place and some budgeting, and I had to kind of really work around, my set budget to get the most bang for my buck. I didn't get to do express passes. I only had one day at Epic Universe and was very kind of limited there. But yes, very true. You are correct.
And I mean, obviously, what I wanted to draw out is that anybody can do what you just did. I mean, it
Yes,
is pretty amazing what you did. And God has blessed you, and you took your wife and child all the way to Florida and enjoyed something that a lot of people only dream about. But that's the problem. They're just dreaming instead of doing. How can they take themselves from being just a dreamer into a doer?
I would live by two phrases, or I would do two things. I would live by a phrase, if not now, when? Okay. If that's
I'm
important to
sorry,
you,
wait,
you're
wait, no,
on the
no,
right
but
track.
what? Say it again?
If not now, when? Basically, if you're
Okay.
not doing if you're passionate about something and you want to do something, if not now, when? Like basically you're just gonna push it off forever. It's going to be pushed off, pushed off, pushed off until you have too much free time that you're bored and you do it and you regret it, or now, right when you want to do it, whenever you're feeling passionate about it, whenever you feel the motivation to do it, whether or not it takes time, that's up to you. That's understanding and going, okay, this is not something that's instant. I have to take the time and the energy to get to where I want to go and to get to what I want to do. So that'd be step one, is kind of living by that motto, or kind of just remembering that.
If
And then
not
also
now,
being,
when?
if not now, when? Yes.
Okay. And step two,
Well, step two would just be, that's where it actually gets a little bit easier. That's just staying consistency and understanding that if you are the type of person to have a goal or passion, understand that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. So once you start, you keep going. And if you do those two things, you will make it to where you want to go. You're only failing if you stop.
ooh, I'm sorry, say that again.
You're
You're
only
only
failing
failing.
if you stop.
And it's really the premise of Duo Jive, right? How does it start off? Wyoming's number one podcast for questionable advice, accidental wisdom, and unnecessary storytelling. But I think at one point you had incorporated into that just two guys from Wyoming, right?
Yes. I mean, that's where we start.
I mean, there's really nothing special, other than the fact that to ourselves, right, to our family, to the mom and dad, and to each other as family, that's the specialness, right? But outside of that, it's nothing special to the world. It's just two guys, or a guy in this case, who works a job, who works hard at his job, who doesn't expect the world or government or anybody for that matter to give him anything. And I think that brings up a good topic for maybe a later conversation. What if somebody told you, well, I think you deserve a benefit and going to give you some money? What comes to your mind? And I don't think we should talk about that now because I don't know how you'd answer. I mean, if somebody told me that they felt that way, my instant thought would be reject, right? Because that nothing's free,
Why do you have to
nothing is free.
reject? Why can't you come to a compromise and understand, yes, but I do have to put in some work, if not the work
Absolutely,
that is
absolutely.
required of this. If you're going to give me this opportunity, I 100% will take it, but please understand, I'm in it to win it. I'm not going to take it without earning it,
All
type
right.
of deal.
All right. All right. We're on the same page. And so
Yes.
here we are. I mean, you've worked hard, and I just really wanted to draw this out, Noah, for the audience. You're a hardworking guy, and you worked hard, and you had a plan, and here you've gone and experienced this phenomenal place at a phenomenal time in a phenomenal way. Or let me rephrase that, at an epic time in an epic way.
Epic all the way.
In a lot of ways, no doubt. And now you've even got some magnificent memories for your or photos, really, because he won't remember any of it. But you've got these photo memories of your son's first year celebration. You guys got to celebrate
Yes.
your son's first birthday at Magic Kingdom only because you work hard, you budget, and you plan for these experiences.
Which
What else?
actually, you just to throw this out there, you just made me think of something. If we do have any listeners this video in future or later on, leave a comment or find us and shoot me a DM, whichever, Noah Avery or Duo Jive, whichever you can find us on pretty much all social media platforms. Leave us a DM or a comment on whether or no you'd like to see a step-by-step breakdown on how I budgeted for this trip and got away with spending little over 2 grand. That's it. I mean, it does sound expensive, but for 6 days in Florida, and that is everything for 3 people. Well, 2.5. So if you want to
Right,
know how to get away with
right,
that, I can
right,
give you a step-by-step guide or at least show you what I did. Just throw it out there and maybe I might just, talk about it in the future. But
and
with
inspire,
that, yeah, yes,
right?
hopefully kind of lead you guys to find a epic adventure of your own that you enjoy at a cheaper price.
When we were living in Florida, I actually met quite a few who had never been to the parks, who said they couldn't afford to go to the parks or some excuse,
And they live
most likely.
there.
And they live there. You traveled all the
That's
way
crazy.
from Wyoming, right? And
Yes.
they had a desire to go to the parks, but they felt like they couldn't because, right? For one reason or another.
Mhm.
And it's not like you've got this job that pays $200 an hour or you make
Not by
$2,000
any
a
means.
day, trading
That sounds
stocks or anything like
great.
that.
If you know how to do that, that'd be great, some great insight because then
You would,
I could do more Universal trips,
no doubt, no
Disney
doubt.
trips.
And dude, you are so, so blessed. And I'm proud of you at the same time. But I'm very thankful for what you get to experience because I know I've been praying ever since you were born and Levi was born and your sister was born. I've been praying nonstop. Every day I pray, and in my prayers for you guys, I pray that God would teach you and instruct you in these ways that are full of wisdom and discipline and different things that I pray about. And you've heard me pray them many times. We've even prayed them
Yes.
together as a family and I'm
I
so
mean, really, all I can say
appreciative.
is thank you for that.
Well, but it wasn't just me, but God provided many times for us when you guys were even younger. You know,
Yes. Oh,
you
man.
guys,
Yeah, I mean, there was a period where, not to go too deep into it, but, we couldn't afford toilet paper, but we still went to Disney on Saturday. So, let that
yeah,
sink in for
yeah,
you. That was when we lived there.
it's that's kind of the funniest part of it. When you do some work for Disney, you may not be able to afford toilet paper, but you can go to Disney parks anytime you want. You know,
Free, baby.
yeah,
Discount it, and things are affordable there because the discounts, yeah, it's a crazy world.
it's,
Crazy lifestyle.
it is phenomenal. But it's
Yes.
also things that your mom was very good at doing, because because I was doing stuff for Disney. You guys, of course, and your mom would make it seem like it was really something big. That's all part of it. Nonetheless, this normal guy from Wyoming, two guys.
Now,
Yeah,
2 guys that somewhat live in Wyoming. We do a little bit of traveling, but yep, I mean,
yes, we do.
originate in Wyoming. And
Yes,
you shouldn't say just me. To go back to what you said earlier, you said that I'm a guy that gets to travel and do vacation like this. We're going to be able to, I mean, because of your circumstance, we're going to be able to do one together. And that's something that we have something to look forward to here soon that we can discuss
that is true. That's
our
coming up
next
fast.
endeavor. It
Yes,
is
yes.
to kind of give you guys something there to look forward to. We have another trip planned here in the next coming months to go to the mountains, Montana, on the edge of
Mm-mm-mm.
Canada. So completely different vibe, completely different experience from what I just
Yes.
experienced for a vacay that will be hosted by yours truly over here, not me, cough cough Chris. Thank you, and look forward to it tremendously. And it grows more every time we have, we chat. We have a group chat that we talk about our trip and seeing new things that we're doing and highlights and all that good stuff.
Yep. 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 A lot
Exciting.
going on there. A lot.
Yes.
Again, and I know some of our viewers may find this a little fatiguing. I give all of the credit to God because I
As far as
well on everything. Like say for example, we've done vacations quite often as a family, and we do things that are considered expensive by some people, maybe even too expensive in the eyes of some people. And they're like, I've actually had people ask me, how do you do that? Right? How do you take your whole family to Florida to visit these theme parks? How do you take your whole family to do something? And some people can't comprehend that when in all reality, it's just because of, well, partly because of work, right? We work for our income and then we work to save some money. But then because we also pray quite frequently and God has provided in ways that would be some surprising to some people. However, we're looking forward to it. No, that's coming up. We might be talking about that quite a bit, because
Of
as a
course,
family,
that's the next thing. I mean, yeah,
we're
now
going
that
to
Epic
going
Universe
to the
Pass,
Sun Road.
I have to. That's true. Sun Road. That is an iconic road. I've seen videos. I've never personally been on it, so this will be exciting. This will be my first time, and
Yep.
very exciting. Of course,
Yep.
Lincoln's and
Yes.
Tiffany's as well. So we're all looking forward to it, and who knows? Maybe even dip into Canada. We're all ready to go.
That's the
So
plan.
we'll see
That
what
is the
we'll see what
plan.
comes of it.
Everybody has been warned on the thread. Get your passport ready for this part of the trip,
Wouldn't
because
hurt
there's a
when you're
day
that close to
dedicated to
Canada.
it. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
is there? I didn't know we dedicated a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of a free day because some people don't want to go to Canada, or there may be a person or two, but whoever doesn't want to go, they're going to be free to, just explore that part of Montana. East Ekin, and we'll see some wildlife,
Very
no
much
doubt.
so.
Well, we
Oh, yeah, that's. I mean, that's inevitable.
we have been talking for 50 minutes about, other than the last couple minutes talking about how God has provided for us, we've been talking about this epic thing that you just experienced.
Yes, sir. It was truly epic. It was one for the books, to say the least. And I hope to give you guys a more detailed insight on my next trip to look forward to. Possibly, I can really go and look at the details of the park and give a
What
step
what
by
do you
step
mean?
guide on how to handle it.
What do you mean?
I want to do another trip, giving
To
myself
epic.
hype to go on another to Epic. Yes,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
to
All
Epic.
right. Well, that's good. Well, soon enough anyway. And I
Yes, maybe a year. Hopefully, eventually, another trip
maybe sooner.
planned to
Yeah.
give some more. And it would be better if it was sooner because then I could give people some insight on how to handle the parks and how to go about, how to handle Epic Universe. I mean, a whole nother aspect, you probably have families out there that are there's so much, and I don't want to get into it too much. There's so much with it. Like you've got families out there that are hesitant because they have babies or they have infants and they're like, I don't know how to go about that. I don't know how to handle that. And to give some insight, I mean, for one example is I discovered that there's this thing called a rider swap or in Universal and Epic Universe, they have family rooms. So what you do is you wait in line together and right before you get on the ride, they have these child swap rooms that one parent goes in there with the baby and the other one goes and hops on the ride, comes back to the room, and then the other parent doesn't have to wait in line again. They just go immediately onto the ride and then almost onto the ride. And then we both exit together, basically riding the ride together, even though we have an infant with us. And since this
Yes.
is a newer theme park, they've gone all out on these rooms, the amenities. They have restrooms, play area for babies, TVs, AC controlled environment. For the most part, one did not. But yes, fantastic example on how to that you can get away with going even with infants, even with babies. This park doesn't pertain to them because there's actually not a single ride that they can go on, but you can still have a good, fun time even with them
So
as a
there's
good
not
starting
a
point.
single ride that they can go that, like, say, for example, your son could go on right now at this stage at a year old?
None, not a
Wow.
single one, which was, I know, it was crazy because the day before we went to I'm sorry, we went to Epcot, which is a Disney theme park land in Disney World, Walt Disney World. And there was actually a few rides that he could go on there, some boat rides, some attractions that were allowed for, they had no height requirement, which means even infants, because you can set them on your lap, could ride. And we did that with Lincoln, and then Magic Kingdom. Almost every ride he could do. It was almost overwhelming because there was too many things that we could do with him, which was fantastic. I've grown a new appreciation for Magic Kingdom because
Yep.
before this
Yep.
trip, that was my least favorite land,
Yep.
and now it's definitely up there because just being able to go and do so much with him is a blast.
That's
But
wild.
Epic is not ideal for kids. Even their kiddie rides have a height requirement, which is low, but obviously 1-year-olds aren't gonna get and 2-year-olds
Or
aren't gonna get on
two-year-olds.
that ride.
Yeah.
It's gonna take yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna take, like I think 42, 48 inches is like the minimum height requirement there, so it's
Wow.
gonna
You're
take some
probably
years to get to
talking
that point.
4 years, 5 years old. Yeah.
Yes, but you
Okay.
can still take them. They have a child care center, they have the family rooms, all of it is catered to handle the families. It's just the rides aren't ideal for them. But they do have shows. There's some shows. That was one downside. I wasn't able to do the shows, and I really wanted to get to do that. But that just gives me something else to look forward to. I'm gonna
Yep.
have to go
Yep.
back and check those out.
Yep.
And Lincoln
Yep.
can do that with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. All right. Hopefully, one day he's going to be able to look at all the photos and videos and really understand and appreciate what he had.
Yeah, right. Who knows what'll be available at that time? Epic Universe might, which is wild to say. Epic Universe might look like old school news, which is, I mean, it's inevitable, but still crazy to say because it's still so new right now. So
Yeah. 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 Well, my brother, good job. Welcome back.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we have more to look forward to. So thanks for joining us. Are we wrapping it up here?
I think so.
Okay, I just want
We've
to
been
didn't
talking
want
for a
to.
while now, 54 minutes,
I
I
know this
think.
was a pretty. We warned him at the beginning. This was a
Yes.
pretty heavy episode as far as my trip, and through the spoiler warning out there, which I didn't give too many spoilers away. I did discuss a little bit on the Ministry of Magic and Monsters Universe. Well, a good
Dark
handful of the
Universe.
rides, but
Yeah.
yes, yep, Dark Universe, and then just my overall experience. We went in heavy into that. If you want to know more details or insight, check out my YouTube, my personal YouTube, Noah Avery, or my Instagram. I should have some content regarding those trips here posted shortly, or already posted in the past. If you're watching this in the future. By the way, thanks for listening and thanks for joining. And make sure to give us a follow and subscribe. Check out those social medias, both Chris and Noah, and our Duo Jive accounts.
Yes.
And with that,
Yes.
make sure to, live life to the fullest.
Right on, man. That's perfect.